shouted over during the game. I'm not allowed to swear, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to call me shithouse all the time.
That's not really swearing.
Any reason for that?
No, he used to call me imbecile. He used to call me Barnsley, which is where I was from. He used to call me Jigsaw. There's another story about that. I asked him why he started calling me Jigsaw, and his answer was, every time the ball comes in the box, you go to pieces. But at the game, the Sunday League game, he used to go and watch. He used to go and watch on a Sunday morning. He'd have his dog, and he'd be a couple of football pitches away. And he shouted during the game, "Shit house!" So I look over and he stood like that.
At least he went to the game, though.
Yeah,
do you
that's
know
true,
what I mean?
Joe,
Like,
that's
he's
true.
done that, but then
I love the stories.
he's there.
I love the stories on him.
No, but if he felt the player was getting carried away with that, he done it to loads of players.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Listen, he was hard with
Shit
me.
house.
Remember Lough, my buddy? Remember Lough played a couple of first, and Lough never played. He played 2 or 3 games after. He said something in the training one time. He gave a ball to Piercy or Nigel. It was short. And he said, "Sorry, lads." And apparently he reckons Brian Clough, what are you saying sorry for? He said he was finished after that.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, you're in awe of these players or something.
Oh.
Finished after that. Never played again for the first.
Wow.
Just for saying sorry.
Saying, like, sorry, I didn't give, like, Piercy
Yeah,
the
yeah,
perfect
yeah.
pass or Nigel or whoever it was. And he said, "What are you apologising for?" He says, just a player just not having the right maybe mindset or whatever it might be. Or getting carried away.
Would he be different with Stuart Pearce as the captain?
Yeah.
Hey, is he mad, him, or what?
See, it was going on back then with the refs.
And, like, Pierce had to jump in and, like, stop him. He was proper sending in at me, like.
Sending in at me.
No, but even at the end...
I didn't respect him for it, though.
Yeah, the few years I was there, people were saying he was finished back then. Brian Clough was finished. He's lost the plot. We got to 2 cup finals in 3 years. It would have been great if we won the cup. So you're doing your best now, but in the cup final. And yet everyone was saying Brian Clough was finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nearly.
What's your best Brian Clough story? So you're on the after dinner circuit now. What's the sort of stories that you would tell?
I think the one that goes down the best is what, and a lot of people don't believe it, is like, I made my debut against Liverpool through a little bit of luck, really, because first team goalie Steve Sutton had gone down with a virus. It was a night game, so he couldn't play. Hans Seegers was on loan at Wimbledon, and then we got a couple of more, a little bit older than me, that probably weren't good enough. And I was coming through with the reserves pretty well in that. So I played against Liverpool. The following Saturday we got Newcastle away, but Steve Sutton, the first team goalie, has now trained all week, so I thought I'm not going to play. Well, he kept me in. We won 1-0. Then the following Saturday he kept me in again. We beat Coventry in the FA Cup. After the game against Coventry, I didn't know, but it was time to take me out of the team then. Like, I'm 19, I've come in, I can do it. He's got his goalkeeper for the next 10 years or whatever. But I just, because I was on such a high, as I'm leaving the dressing room, I just turned around and said to the lads, "Thank you for the best 10 days of my life that you've just given me. I can't believe actually what's just happened, but see you on Monday." That's it.
That's it.
Go and enjoy it, play with a smile on your face. That's it. Never did never ever once mention the opposition. Never.
Ever?
Never,
set
ever.
pieces and nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
No set plays.
Wow.
Because he believed so much in you guys.
It's off
I
the cuff.
suppose.
And he could pick players. He obviously knew a good player.
Yeah.
Off the cuff.
Recruitment was fantastic.
Wow.
That was a tough
You know, he definitely made sure you wouldn't be overthinking the game, would he?
Yeah.
You never
sound like it.
No, you'd never go on the pitch and thinking, listen, you would know your job. That's a really important part of management. And it would be all them simple things like looking after the ball, striker get hold of it. For me, just make some runs and.
Well, what about
process.
the opposing team with the runners that's coming through and what? Nothing.
Yeah, but subconsciously you'd be aware of who you're playing, but you wouldn't need the manager telling you that. You know who you're up against. But you'd be doing that by just watching games yourself and picking up on stuff.
What would his non-negotiables
say?
say? Go on,
No, I
Julie,
was
go.
just about to say, like, if you're playing in midfield and they go, they've got midfielders that are going to run, you know it anyway, do you know what I mean?
you would do, yeah.
It's
Well, you
not
shouldn't.
like,
Yeah, you
exactly,
should do.
that's what I mean, you just play the game in front of you, don't you?
What were his non-negotiables in terms of, like, what would he just not accept? What would he lose his rag at, lose his temper at?
Been late.
Yeah, it's a huge one for him, yeah.
I remember going into training once and I wasn't clean shaven. I mean, he didn't mind a beard as long as it was neat. But if you were looking, you know,
Scruffy.
yeah. He'd go, I remember once sent me home, see you tomorrow.
What, because you had a beard?
Because I was looking a bit scruffy and that, like.
You were loving your days off now, mind you.
Oh, it was tough. Really
He was
tough.
a great striker himself, wasn't he? Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
Were there any tactics at all? Any sort of shape during the week that you'd work on, or?
never.
That's brilliant.
Five-a-side.
Just played.
So what was training? So let's pretend you've played on a Saturday and you've got a game the following Saturday. What would your week look like from Sunday onwards?
Sometimes see you Thursday.
Wow.
Really?
From Saturday?
Yeah.
Now I know when before you were talking about training hard. To be fair, it's quite. You only did one day a week.
He worked his arse off on a
But the work he
Friday.
put in is the work he put in.
You wouldn't see him till Thursday, Friday anyway. But as soon as he appeared, training obviously went up a level. But like even goalkeepers, we never had a goalkeeping coach. Like
So who's doing that then? What were you doing?
we were doing it between ourselves, but we'd play five-a-side and we'd play out. Yeah,
Jeez.
4-4-2. It never changed, and
But it was a good environment, wasn't it?
Brilliant environment,
Good environment for players. Like you'd Piercy and Nigel and Des. You'd all good players.
Yeah,
remember?
good players, yeah.
Live in the sessions.
Yeah, what does team talk be then before a game in terms of sort of how to motivate you or how to sort of?
well, you remember he used to have the cricket ball.
Yeah.
So he'd come in, like 8 minutes to kick off, say. And he likes you to sit down still with a towel over your knees. Focus on the job.
Have you got
in hand.
clothes on?
Any particular reason?
We've got
The
clothes,
towel?
He'd just like you to put, I don't know, keep warm, focus on the game, and then he'd pull out his cricket ball and he'd throw it, catch it, throw it back. Next one, catch it, throw it back, catch it, and then he'd take his flat cap off and he'd try and throw it on the peg. We used to have a ball in the middle of the dressing room on a towel. And he'd go, that's what we're playing with, keep it on the floor. That was it. But that was just him. You know, signing that blank contract, even when I had bad times, I could never do wrong anymore.
Yeah.
Because I've signed a blank contract, trusted him, and he's trusted me to sign it. And that's the bond, straight away.
That was probably the car contract.
Yeah.
You know, so that's such a good story, that is.
Was that
It's amazing. And
was
that
that a fair
just sums
contract?
up,
Was
I
that
think,
fair?
Was you happy with that?
Were you happy with the 500?
Yeah, because you know, as players, you have a little chat with the people who are same age, right? Like so Stoney and Scotty Gemmell and all that. They were all on 500 quid a week.
Yeah.
Because they all played in the first team. That was the standard. That was it.
That was exactly the same with us at United. He gave us all the same contract. He gave us £4,000 signing-on fee, £210 a week year one, £230 a week year two, £250, £270. All got a Honda Prelude. We all got the same contract. I think 8 of us. Similar
That carried on
principle.
throughout your career, didn't it?
Pardon?
Carried on throughout your career, didn't it?
But all your stories, you've warmed towards them, have you? Like
I loved it.
You've no nastiness towards them, have you?
No.
Like a lot of players could look at that and go, "Hey, it was bullying, or it was out of order," but you
No,
a lot of love
because
for it, don't you? Yeah.
I just he changed my life. So he gave me my debut at 19 against Liverpool. So I always look back as though that man changed my life. So I don't know any players or ex-players. What I do find fascinating is the amount of ex-players that want to know what he was like. And he'll never go away. He's never going away.
100%. Piercy could do what he wanted, couldn't he?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Well, Percy's
yeah,
got
of course.
stories as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, the best one, Piercy, remember he said to us, but when he got called in for England, and Brian Clough called him, like Piercy, I was a younger player, but Piercy had a lot of power, he's captain of England.
Yeah.
But he'd be still on his case.
Yeah.
Remember
Did Piercy got called up for England, and the manager pulled him in? Piercy said the story before, and the manager said, "Do you think you're good enough, like for England?" And Piercy was like, "Piercy's obviously buzzing. He's got called up for England." And he says, "Yeah, I do, Gaffer." And he went, "I don't think you are. Now get out of my office." That was the Piercy. Piercy obviously tells it better than me. That was Stuart Pearce, just keeping everyone grounded. Don't be getting carried away with it.
There was a story with the iron as well, wasn't there? Where when Piercy played non-league, he was an electrician by trade, and he used to get an advert in the programme. Stuart Pearce, electrician, and the gaffer spotted it, like, hadn't he? So he's obviously thought about it, and one day he's walked in with a shopping bag, and the ball that I said that was on the towel, he's knocked the ball off and put the bag down and stepped back and said to Piercy about the electrician. What's all that about? On page 9, Stuart Pearce, electrician. If Barbara's light bulb goes out and she calls that number, you're not really coming, are you, to change it? No, my brother is. And then he walks over to the bag and he pulls out an iron and he said, Barbara's iron's buggered. He says, if you don't mend it, you ain't playing Saturday. And Casey mended the iron and put it on his desk.
God.
So, just, it's madness, honestly.
Thoughts about Forest?
I think they've become an established Premier League team. We're looking at them this season now, which was the aim. And 2 seasons where it looked like they were definitely getting relegated.
Yeah.
Surviving late on, beating Arsenal 1-0 was a massive
game.
to stay up the first year. So I just think, but the owner has put his money where his mouth is, and he's signed
Got on with
players.
any. He's not bothered what anyone says.
Yeah, so you can't knock that, really.
Yeah, people were ridiculing Forest, weren't they?
They have
Yeah.
been incredible, though. People had them down for, like, relegation. To see where they are now, like...
That was Carragher, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did he?
Didn't
Did
want
he have
to
him down
see
for relegation?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were never going to get relegated, were
Yeah,
they?
but what he's done is, like, amazing, isn't it? I don't think we predicted them to be where they are now.
They're playing some really good counter-attacking football, and they've got a bit of pace, and they've got a talented player called Morgan Gibbs-White playing in midfield. And what I love about him is, like, I see him come off the pitch, and he's shattered every single game.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
to see that.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of pace
Amazed
out
me
wide.
is Chris Wood.
Chris Wood, it's
I
like...
think, like,
Yeah.
I've never seen him having the season he's having.
Nah.
I think he started at the end of last season and he scored quite a few goals, and then
Yeah.
never seen him.
It's nice to see the old-fashioned
Isn't it?
type of centre
Yeah.
forwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how happy he is, though? You see him cross, Mark, and you see him with that pace around him, Morgan Gibbs in front. All he's got to do is focus on finishing, and it's just, you could see that he's just like, he's got it.
And I noticed this year, like, they're putting the ball in the box a little bit. I know it's an old cliche, but you don't put the ball in the box, and somebody like Chris Wood, he's thriving off that, you know. So...
And
I
that's
just
the
feel-
next part of your career, no? You do the
Yeah.
after dinner. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I talk about him with, like, passion and...
Yeah.
And love.
Love, man.
And love, yeah, because he was such a... I don't know whether he knew what he was doing half the time, like, but
Maverick.
just like, yeah.
But it was
like-
tough when you don't know. If you met, was he tough? Yeah, I know you were saying he
Yeah.
gave you a couple of days off after the Blackburn game, but there must have been games where he went, hey.
Yeah.
He was tough
It
on
was
us,
tough,
wasn't he?
yeah, tough.
Yeah, what was he like after a defeat?
No,
He played mind games sometimes. If you got beaten, you're going to get. He's going to go after you, and then he'd go the other way and go have a
Yeah.
few days off. And then if you'd won a few, you're going, hey, listen, a couple of days off. And he'd, no, you're all in tomorrow. So he'd definitely be playing mind games.
I know I really looked after you going back to see your family in
Yeah,
Ireland. didn't
yeah,
you? And-
always.
and,
Yeah, but also tough with me then.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well. Obviously,
yeah.
the incident with me, you with the Crystal Palace goal where
Yeah,
he
yeah.
punched me after the game. So he'd be like, he'd give me days off, and
He
he'd be brilliant with my
punched
fam. Yeah, it was no.
That was my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
It was my fault. It was back pass. He left it a little bit short. You was actually charging me down.
Was it me?
Yeah,
Was it?
I think it was. You know.
Wouldn't have been a good thing.
No, but you were good with your feet. You kind of shanked
Yeah, good
it.
left
Shanked
foot,
it.
great left foot.
And I'm looking, and honestly, it was like slow motion. You're not about not upsetting the manager, because we all love Brian Clough. He gave us a chance like Norm did for me. And I remember John Salako gets it, and I'm looking at Norm running back. John Salako, what would he be? 45 yards out, right?
Easily.
I'm
At
looking
the
Norm,
City ground, wasn't it?
Norm, get back.
No, he didn't get in there.
He's fucking not getting there. I swear. And as soon as I hit the net,
But how does it go? How's that end up being a punch?
because he blamed me for the back pass, and it was the cup game, so then I went to a replay, and he was like, he wanted the game done and dusted there. I think he ended up going to, was it 3 replays or something?
think
Was that the
something
same
like
one?
that, yeah.
So the thought of having a free weekend, I've got to go to London, all the way to London to play Palace in the cup game that we had at 1. So you blame me after the match. Obviously, I don't think you said much after the game. You were just let me take the rap for it. And he just punched me in the chest. Yeah. I don't think he said much. You did he? Did he?
No, nothing. I'm like, I got away with that one.
You almost
But
He punched me as well.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he punched me at Villa away. We drew 1-1. I saved a penalty from David Platt, and obviously it wasn't a bad result. You're buzzing after the game. And at Villa Park, the tunnel is down at the bottom corner. So I'm waiting for Nigel Spink to come down to shake hands as keepers do. I've shook hands with the referee as he's walking past me. Next minute, he grabs me and says, "You remember the stairs were like that?
Yeah, Villa.
Get up them stairs." So I get in the dressing room and I'm like watching him like this. I'm like, what have I done? I haven't done anything wrong. Anyway, I goes and gets where I'm getting changed, and I'm taking my shirt, I'm taking my shirt off like that. And as I've got to about there, he's come for me. He's hung my shirt on the peg. and started, like, digging me in the stomach. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? If I ever see you shake hands with a referee after a decision like that, son, he said, I'll do more than punch you in the stomach. When's your contract up?
Such a great accent.
I said, end of the season. Would you like a new one? So I said, well, I'd love one. Come and meet, I'll not say what he called me, but he said, come and see me Monday morning and I'll give you a new contract. So I go and see him Monday morning. To get to see him, you had to go through Carol. She said, well, he hasn't said anything to me, but he's in. I'll ring his office, go down, just down the corridor, knock on the door, walk in. He stood there, rugby shirt, green sweater, blue tracky bottoms, pair of wellies on, squash racket in his hand. I said, hello, morning, boss. He goes, what can I do for you? So I said, you've told me to come and see you about signing a new contract. Don't remember that one, son. I goes, well, you did. He goes, have a seat. So I sit down and he opens the drawer and he puts the contract on the table and he said, sign that. I goes, I can't sign that. Why can't you sign it? I said, it's blank. I'll fill it in, son. And so he asked me to leave the office. So I'm literally in the corridor and he's closed the door. So I close the door. I'm in the corridor. And like I say, you're not with an agent or a mobile. And I'm literally just walking up and down the corridor. He's going, 4 minutes. I gave you 5 to sign it, but I'm going to give you 4 now. Oh, you're off to Barnsley, where are you from? They'd love you in goal for them, son. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? It's bullying, really, isn't it? So I thought, I'm going to have to go and sign it, aren't I? So I goes in and I signed the contract.